Today, Ukrainian forces have started shifting the tide and are now capturing ground faster than Russia. With hundreds of square kilometers liberated, the Ukrainian push takes village after village, and the Russians are on the verge of being kicked out of the Dnipropetrovsk region altogether. The Ukrainian forces regained the initiative, with operational updates stating that only a handful of small settlements in the region remain contested. Most of the previously Russian-controlled territory has already been retaken after several weeks of sustained Ukrainian counterattacks along the border of the region. The operation, led by Ukrainian air assault units and reinforced by mechanized brigades and assault regiments, reflects a coordinated effort to force the Russian forces into reactive defense, leaving them with nothing stopping the Ukrainian advance. The offensive itself has unfolded in clearly structured phases, with the first stage focused on breaking the outer layer of Russian positions anchored around Ternov, Kalinivsky, and Berezov. Ukrainian assault units, including the Skelya Regiment, confirmed the clearing and liberation of Ternov, marking an early breakthrough that destabilized nearby Russian positions, exposing them to direct attacks. In Berezov, Ukrainian forces established control over the northern part of the settlement, gradually pushing Russian units further back while maintaining constant pressure through infantry assaults supported by drones. At the same time, a parallel push resulted in the clearing of Kalinivsky, which became a critical foothold, allowing Ukrainian forces to prepare for deeper penetrations into Russian-held territory. The second phase exploited this momentum with a rapid advance beyond Kalinivsky into Novomykolaiivka, with confirmed Ukrainian presence in the southern part of the village, and Ukrainian units continuing to push further south toward Novoivanivka, extending their reach and creating a cascading effect across the defensive line. This maneuver effectively outflanked several Russian positions, putting them at risk of encirclement. Simultaneously, Ukrainian troops opened another axis of pressure by advancing into Novohrihorivka. This phase demonstrated a high level of coordination between mechanized assault groups and drone units. Fighting in the village quickly turned into intense close-quarters combat, with Ukrainian infantry systematically clearing buildings one by one. Drone reconnaissance identified Russian positions, while FPV drones targeted fortified houses, forcing defenders out into the open where they were either captured or eliminated. Footage from the area confirmed Ukrainian infantry fighting vehicles operating inside the settlement, signaling not just raids but sustained control efforts. Despite Russian attempts to reinforce the area, Ukrainian forces prevented that with drone strikes, maintained tempo, and continued expanding their presence. Their advance continued, with additional footage showing Ukrainian troops moving between Novohrihorivka and Novoivanivka, indicating further territorial gains. This progression has placed significant pressure on the nearby Russian-held hub of Uspanivka, which serves as a logistical and command center for Russian operations in the sector. By threatening it, Ukrainian forces are undermining the broader structure of Russian defenses, while continuous search and strike operations along the line have targeted Russian infantry concentrations and shelters, particularly east of Novomykolaiivka and south of Novohrihorivka. Russian attempts to infiltrate through gray zones have repeatedly failed, suggesting a loss of tactical flexibility and confirming that the tide has indeed turned in Ukraine's favor. Taken together, these developments illustrate how Ukrainian forces are no longer limited to defensive containment but are actively dictating the tempo of operations. This resulted in Ukrainian forces reclaiming approximately 450 square kilometers of territory, marking the first time since the Kursk operations that Kyiv has outpaced Russian advances. The speed of this transition from localized clearing to deeper offensive action highlights how Ukrainian forces are increasingly capable of converting tactical gains into more decisive breakthroughs. Overall, the significance of this shift goes beyond territorial gains, as it demonstrates that Ukrainian forces can absorb pressure, stabilize the front, and then transition into coordinated counteroffensives that achieve substantial results. It came in a significant moment, just before the Russians started their spring offensives, forcing them to step back before they could even try stepping forward. In the Dnipropetrovsk direction, this process is now approaching its culmination, with Russian forces on the verge of being pushed out entirely after losing hundreds of square kilometers in 2 weeks after a localized Ukrainian breakthrough. Strategically, this offensive has landed at a moment. By striking ahead of anticipated Russian spring offensives, Ukrainian forces have effectively disrupted their opponent's plans before they could fully materialize. Instead of launching new advances, Russian units in this sector are fighting to hold on to what remains and in many cases failing to do even that. Now, as the operation in the Dnipropetrovsk direction approaches what may be its final stages, the broader implications are coming into focus. The near expulsion of Russian forces from the region would not only represent a major territorial success, but also a symbolic one, a demonstration that sustained pressure, coordination, and adaptation can reverse even entrenched positions. And perhaps most importantly, it signals something larger, that the balance of initiative in this is not fixed. It can shift, it can accelerate, and as current events suggest, when it does, it can do so with a force and speed that leaves little room for recovery.
Да, по готовности один огонь.
Меньше 1,55,80.